Will, are you going to be making it home soon?
It should be another 10 minutes before I get home. Why are you asking?
I haven't quite finished making dinner yet, so when you get home, can you get in the shower first?
What? I don't want to get cleaned up before eating. I always eat the moment I get home from work, and then take time to relax in the shower. I tell you this all the time, right?
I'm sorry. I just ran a little late today and couldn't get around to starting dinner until now.
So you've just been messing around at home all day again? Ever since you've become pregnant, you've just been having the time of your life doing anything besides your responsibilities.
Today, I just happened to feel a little off, so I took a nap. I can't seem to get my body into good shape until the afternoon most days, so I don't get around to chores and cooking until then.
That again? Saying that you're not feeling well, or that moving around makes you want to collapse? You can't just sleep all day because of those little excuses. You really love making a fuss over nothing. Must be great being a wife, huh? Getting to rest all day due to just feeling a little queasy? To the rest of us working people, we don't have the ability to do such a thing, or we'd lose our only form of income.
The doctor told me that on days I'm not feeling alright to take time off and either lay down or go to sleep until I'm feeling alright. He said there's no need to force myself to do anything while pregnant.
Are you sure you're not just putting those words in that doctor's mouth? Right now, there are other women that are pregnant with their babies, but unlike you, they don't just sit around all day crying about feeling a little sick. And all my friends with loving pregnant wives still get lunches made for them by their wives, and get to come home to clean houses. When I look at the lunchbox you pack for me, it sure is full of pre-made crap. We are all in the same situation at home, yet they get to have a loving wife to care for them still.
Don't compare me to the wives of all your coworkers, please. Everyone experiences pregnancy differently, and in my case, the symptoms are just a tad bit worse.
You are all pregnant with babies, yet you think you get to lay around all day at home and put off your chores? That doesn't seem right to me. I'm going to start thinking that you're just being lazy. And let's be honest, you've always been a bit slower than these other women that my coworkers have. So start learning how to work, even if you feel a little off or don't have the drive to work.
Even though the doctor told me not to?
Doctors love telling people to take time off and all that crap. In reality, nobody takes off as much time as you have been, and they all get right back to work. You're supposed to get all your chores done in a timely manner. And if you have time between then and making me dinner, you can relax a little. But you seem to do the opposite, and relax all day first, and get to your chores and cooking far too late in the day.
I'm sorry, Will.
Stop trying to make this all seem alright for you when your husband is the one working hard every day at work and has to come home exhausted. I'm the only one out of the both of us that's actually tired right now and needs a break. Now please, start acting like a wife that I can brag about again to all of my coworkers, okay?
Hey, do you think you can get home from work a bit earlier today? Ever since this morning, my body has felt really off.
Off? What do you mean?
I don't feel right standing up, and I'm having cold sweats every couple of minutes. To be honest with you, I think something's really wrong. I'd like you to come home and take me to the hospital to get this checked out, please.
I'm going out for drinks tonight, so that's not happening. Take yourself to the hospital if you really need to go.
Again? Yesterday and the day before that, you went out for drinks all night.
Well, today I'm going out with a different group, so that's why.
Why are you going out every night like that lately, drinking a bunch out on the town? We're getting really close to having a baby, and you have to be back home to care for everyone.
What does you having a baby have to do with me going out for drinks?
When we have our baby, you're no longer going to be able to go out every night to drink and play around town. Are you sure you're going to be able to drop doing all of that the day the baby comes?
I don't plan on changing anything, even after the baby is born. Why are you saying a bunch of meaningless crap to me right now, Gwen?
Wait, but once I have the baby, we have to start raising it together, right?
Your job is raising the baby. Why do I have to be the one to give up my time to care for the baby you're carrying? I have no plans of changing the life I live right now, and that's final.
I'm sorry, Will, but nobody continues to live their life as though they are single after their wife has a baby. Everyone ends up having to put a bit more time into their family once a baby is a part of it, and you'll have to do the same.
No way. I think everyone in my shoes continues going out and having a good time. There is not a single man around me that does chores instead of his wife.
Well, what about Steve?
Steve? I don't know what he's up to, but I rarely talk to him anyway. Never really comes out drinking with us after work.
That must mean that Steve is back home with his wife helping out, right? That's probably the reason why he never goes out anymore with all of you to drink.
Well, because of that choice of his, he's no longer able to grow within the company.
Why not?
Going out to drink with your coworkers is just like doing your job at work, right? And since he doesn't have it in himself to come and join all of us, he's never going to get promoted, and will stay a base level employee forever. And can you stop comparing me to other men at my job?
Then what was that all about when you compared me to all your coworkers' wives?
And that was because there is something wrong with you making you think you can slack off. I'm working my job and doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm nothing like you.
Well, whatever. Can you please just come home for a little bit to take me to the hospital? I'd like some help with the chores and such as well. And honestly, I just like you home so that I don't feel like I'm all alone here.
You think me being by your side will make a difference? There's no way me being beside you will make you feel any better. I'm not some doctor or anything.
I'm not asking you to come home and fix me. I'm just talking about being here as company. What would happen if something were to happen to me and nobody was around? You wouldn't want something bad to happen to me or your baby, would you?
And here we go again with you over-exaggerating. You worry yourself too much. You told me before that all you had to do is take a nap until you feel better, right?
You have no idea if I'm alright or not when you're at work all day and then going out for drinks after, right? Since you're not a doctor or anything? Are you not worried about your own wife and baby when I'm this late into my pregnancy?
Jeez, recently you've really been an annoying little brat. Why are you continuing to try and get me to come home to you?
Well, that's because you're never home anymore. Even on your days off, you go out with all your guys and don't stay home around me. Do you think that next weekend you can stay home with me and the baby?
Now that you mention it, next week I am taking the whole week off work. I had a lot of paid vacation piling up and had to use it somewhere.
So then, you're gonna be home all week, right? Will you be able to come along with me to the doctor's to check on the baby?
No. I already made plans for all next week. It's been a while since I had the week all to myself, so I thought I'd get out and stretch my wings a little.
You're going out again? How much longer are you going to act like you don't have a family at home to worry about?
I'm the one that gets to choose what kind of life I live. Now you stop talking back to me about it, you jobless loser. Now, I have a drinking party later, so I need to get back to work. Don't text me about anything that has nothing to do with me for the rest of the day, alright?
Please. Can you just let me back inside, Will?
No way. You sit outside and think about what you've done, you idiot.
But the rain is getting worse and worse out here. And it's freaking cold.
Is that so? Well, I hope that it becomes the perfect medicine for you.
Why are you doing this to me, Will? Kicking me out of the house like this, it's not right for a husband to do that to his pregnant wife. And I'm not speaking metaphorically either, you literally kicked me. It hurts still.
This is all because you don't do your work and you just sleep around all day. What is with that huge mountain of clothes in that nasty-looking kitchen?
I was waiting for you to come home late into the morning, and I started to feel worse and worse while waiting. I wanted to take some time to rest before getting to work on all the chores I still needed to do. You're the one that went out all day and night to play with your friends, so why are you getting this upset with me about those chores?
I came back home all happy and feeling good, and that feeling was ruined by you not getting any of the chores done. Seeing a house like this when I walk in makes me pissed. You have to have this place cleaned up before I get home. What kind of wife do you think you are, leaving the house a mess for your husband to come home to?
I'm sorry, Will. I'll make sure to get all of it taken care of as long as you let me back in.
I'm not letting you back in for now. All you continue to say are excuses, and I'm not having any of it. You're gonna stay outside for the day and think about what you've done.
But the rain is really bad right now. If I begin to freeze too much out here, it'll be really bad for our baby.
Well then, you better find somewhere dry to wait out this storm out there. Because you're not coming back in the house for the time being.
Where do you think I should go, though? I don't even have my wallet on me or anything, so I can't go to a hotel. And today is one of the worst days I've felt in a long time. So please let me back inside.
Go on about how you feel bad again. You're always going on about the same dang excuses whenever you don't want to do something. Well, I'm not going to go easy on you this time. I'm going to head to bed for a bit here now, and I don't want to see you inside this house. Stay out until I say you can come back. Will, you're at your house right now, correct? I'm home. What do you want from me, Steve? Hey, you get your butt to the office right now. If you're at your house, then you can get here in a little bit, right? What? I'm on my paid time off at the moment, so... Did you not even know that it was my time off right now? Ah, did you happen to mess something up at work and you need me to help you? Well, I'm sorry, Steve, but I'm not your daddy anymore, so get your own work done. Paid time off? Is that what's going on here? Well, listen, Will, after what you've done to your wife, you're in a tough spot. Huh? What's going on with my wife? She just came to the office a second ago asking to be let in. And she was drenched from head to toe and shivering. Huh? Why, wife? Are you sure about that one, Steve? I'm not joking. Why is she there? I hear that you went and kicked your wife out of the house, literally, and told her to stay out? She's pregnant, Will, and you're doing stuff like that to her? And let's be real here. Even if she wasn't pregnant, you can't kick someone like that. I never kicked her. You sure did kick her. There's a huge bruise on her, and it's not something you can get from a small fall. And she's been telling me you're the one that kicked her. What the hell does she think she's talking about at my work? She came here to talk with us about how bad of a husband you are, and what to do about you. And because of this, everyone here is speechless. And we're not shocked by her, but by what you've been doing to your pregnant wife. Why are you all so upset with me right now? You don't have to believe a word she's trying to say to you right now. Can you just kick her out of there and send her back to me? Ugh. I'm a bit disappointed in you right now, Will. I understand that you were the kind of guy to leave all this housework to your wife, but to think you're actually this awful of a husband? And what the hell do you know about me, Steve? You have no reason to think poorly of me, buddy. She's just making up a bunch of crap about me, because I didn't do a dang thing to her. But look, you go out drinking every night with the younger workers here. This whole time you've had me worried about whether your wife is okay or not because you're never home for her. Let me tell you right now that what you're doing is not right, Will. At this point in time, you seem to be doing nothing to help your wife out at home and with her baby. Dude, you haven't told any of the higher-ups yet, right? The CEO and such? You know that this is going to be brought up with them. This is a smaller company, and there aren't that many of us here. So when something like this happens, it's going to find its way up the ladder one way or the other. And our CEO is a very compassionate man, so I feel as though he's not going to like what he hears about this. And when he does make a decision on what to do, I think the chance of you ever getting promoted again will fade away forever. What? You go and stop my wife right now. If she keeps going on with all that strange talk, I'm going to be in hot water. I'm sorry, but I'm not stopping her. If you really need her to shut up, then get your butt in here and do it yourself. But that chick's not going to listen to a word I say to her. If she had just listened to everything I was telling her before, she'd have never gotten any of the company involved in our private affairs. So in other words, your wife doesn't trust you enough anymore to go and listen to what you keep saying to her anymore? Perhaps the whole reason she didn't want to listen and talk to you anymore is because you were the one stopping her from doing so? Why do you have to be involved in this? You and I have been working together for a long time now and have no reason to be butting heads here. Why are you willing to jump on my wife's bandwagon only after coming into the office and saying a few words? Right now your wife has a terrible fever, and her legs are shaking a whole lot, and we heard her just a few minutes ago vomiting in the toilet. She can't even get up to walk anymore, Will. Kicking your pregnant wife out of the house when she is looking like this is just unthinkable, man. Huh? She's really feeling that bad? She keeps telling us she's been feeling this bad for a long time now. Why have you not been caring for her at all? It's difficult to be pregnant with a baby. But look, Steve, you told me before that when your wife was pregnant, she really didn't have any issues like mine. So I just assumed that my wife was faking all those symptoms to get out of having to do any chores or cook for me. Jesus. You really are an idiot, Will. Huh? You have to understand that everyone reacts to pregnancy differently. It's the same thing as having a cold or getting food poisoning, right? Everyone develops different symptoms to them. My wife might have been able to handle her pregnancy pretty well, but that might have been due to me being there to help care for her. Now, for the time being, you get over here and apologize to her. No, I have to get back to work here. I heard about everything from Steve. What the hell did you think you were doing?
So you heard about that.
I heard about that? I sure as hell did. What the hell were you thinking going to my office where all my coworkers are?
Well, I didn't have anywhere else to go for cover at the time. Did you want me to go to the police station and have them get involved instead?
You'd think I'd want something like that? But the fact that you have this company all riled up now is just... Go do something about it.
I can't believe what I'm hearing from you. I had no other choice, Will. I was feeling awful, and still am, yet you kicked me out of the house and told me to stay away. And it was in the middle of a huge and freezing downpour. I asked myself why all of this was happening to me. I just walked and walked in the rain thinking about that until I looked up, and there was your office building not too far ahead. And I just thought that they'd be at least willing to help me there, so I walked in.
But I'm telling you that you've caused all kinds of problems now for your husband and the company he works for. This is a problem for you and I to handle, not all of my coworkers to listen about.
I had no other choice, Will. They were at least willing to listen to me about what happened, and they were the ones asking all the questions in the first place. And in the end, they all told me they really had you down wrong. So that's why I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one that thinks you're messed up. I'm sure that now you understand that what you did to me was really screwed up, and nobody does that to their wives, right?
All right. I get that what I did was wrong. So please, come back to me. Or at least leave my office, please. Then I'll make sure to go to everyone there later and apologize. I'm already on my way actually to explain all of this to them.
Nope. The CEO has already told me that you are no longer needed here for the time being. Also, pretty soon here, Steve is going to take me to the hospital in his car. There's no reason for you to come now.
What do you mean there's no need for me to be there for the time being?
They're saying that starting tomorrow, you no longer need to come into work. And if you do show up, they'll have you stopped and turned away. They've told me that they don't need someone in the office who acts like a complete lunatic.
Does this mean that I'm fired? You're joking about that one, right?
I think you're on the chopping block now. I'd start working on finding a new job here, Will.
You're lying, right? Something like this should never happen.
It really should not ever happen, right? I was thinking that the whole time I was walking in the rain. I'm not going to be coming back to that house anymore. I'm going to be divorcing you and then heading back to my hometown.
Divorce? Hold on a second.
Are you finally starting to understand how I feel now that I no longer want to be with you? You never gave a crap about what I was saying to you all this time. I'm glad to see that I was right about Steve and a lot of the other married men. You just seem to want any excuse to not help me in any way while I'm pregnant.
I'm sorry. I just thought you were over there exaggerating your symptoms or something. I really didn't see you as the type of woman that got sick that badly.
Why didn't you think I could get sick? I told you time and time again that I was feeling terrible, right? I was even going to the hospital for it, and yet you still think that I was just screwing around about it?
I listened to what Steve told me about his wife, and just assumed you'd be the same. It was a total misunderstanding. This is all Steve's fault.
Steve didn't do anything wrong. If anything, he's been really caring for me. He noticed immediately that I wasn't doing well and started to do all sorts of things to help me feel a little better. Compared to you, he's a wonderful man.
If I'd ever really known you weren't feeling well, I would have been a whole lot nicer to you. Hey, come on now, Gwen. Can you please go to the CEO and have him rethink firing me, please?
You keep telling me that it was some misunderstanding, but that seems like nothing more than an excuse from you. We all know that you only worry about yourself this whole time and never bothered to care for the woman you should have loved and her baby. Well, I no longer want to care about you, Will. If you don't want to be fired, then you have to have a word with your CEO yourself.
But he'll listen to what you say to him a lot more than he'll listen to me. Please, I'm asking you with all my strength.
No, thank you.
This is all going to affect my life here. There isn't a whole lot of other companies out there like the one I'm working for, and I don't want to lose the benefits I have there.
But you're not going to like it here anymore either, since all the employees hate you now, right? Do you really think that you'll be able to continue working in an environment like this?
I'd rather that than being fired right now. And can you please stop talking about wanting a divorce? I promise I'll never do anything like I did today to you again.
It's too late, Will. I have been bearing all this pain for a long while now, and I've had enough. I was so hopeful that you'd have a change of heart sometime then, but you never ever did. That day just never came. And when you kicked me out of the house yesterday, I gave up on you.
I'm sorry for actually kicking you then. It must have hurt, right?
It's way too late for an apology like that. And it wasn't my body that got hurt the worst by that, but my heart. I didn't come all the way to your office because I wanted to today. I was forced to by you because you had no care in the world for me and made this my only choice. You have to come here and apologize for all the troubles you caused today.
Can you come along with me then, and the two of us can apologize to them? We're a couple, right?
The only reason you're saying things like this now is because you want the CEO to think better of you again. You don't regret a thing about what you've been doing to me all this time, do you?
It's not like that, Gwen. I seriously see that I messed up this time. I promise that I'll change after I'm able to keep my job, okay? I'll do my very best to be the best husband I can be to a wonderful woman like you.
That's not possible anymore. I don't even want to think of you as my husband anymore. If you want to do your best, then go right ahead. But I don't want to see you ever again, and so I'm going to shut up and get the hell away from you. After that, Will ended up flying over to the office and got on both his hands and knees to apologize for what he'd done. But the CEO ignored him and told him that no matter how he tried to apologize, the outcome would be the same. And just like that, he was fired from his job there. I ended up telling both my in-laws about what had happened and that I'd be divorcing Will. And my mother-in-law told me that they were already yelling at him about what he'd done to me and that he'd be disowned by them. Will, now having lost both his parents and his job, was left with nothing else and was forced to pay me a settlement in a divorce. And after that, he was left with little drive to find any good work and ended up with a place that hired him but would not pay him very well. And now he wasn't only having to face paying off his student debt, but would now have to pay child support to me every month. And with both of those things stacked on top of the settlement, he was living a very tough life. But when you think about everything he'd done to me, this was the correct outcome for him. On the other hand of this, I went back to my parents' house and had my baby in my hometown. And after that, I ended up receiving a surprise gift from Steve congratulating me on giving birth. He told me in the letter that everyone in the office was happy to hear that I gave safe birth to a healthy baby and that they could all rest easy now. And in return for the gift, I let everyone there know how happy I was for what they'd done. Even they could see that a man like Will was an awful man and a waste, and they were willing to get him out of their lives as well. And what a great company they are for doing that. Nate, I just got to the house.
Oh, you got there pretty quickly. I'm still on my way walking back to the house right now. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to bring you over or anything.
No worries. It was a lot easier for me to take the bus anyway. So you wouldn't have had to take me all the way over on your own. Also, tomorrow you have a business trip, right?
Well, I don't really want to go on that trip for work, especially since we are going to be married here in another month or so. I guess my company doesn't really care about my personal life.
Nate told you before we even planned on getting married that you'd have this trip, right? Just be happy that everything between both our parents went well when we had everyone talk about the marriage. And today, being able to find a really nice place for us to move into after we got married takes a whole lot of stress off our backs, right?
I really hope that we were able to pass the application for the place and get it. I do feel as though the rent on the place can be a little high.
Well, there's no need to really worry about that. You and I are both working, so we have the money for it. And even after having a baby, I'm not planning on quitting my job over it. And even if one of us does end up leaving our jobs, the rent isn't high enough where we can't pay it.
But having only one of us working would make it so hard to pay for things. But the two of us do have a lot in our savings, so I think that will be okay.
That's right. And also, this place is the kind of house we've both been wishing for, right? The door is watched by a security camera, and we're even able to have pets in it. And even if those two things don't sell it for you, the place is really close to all the other forms of transit in town, like the bus and subway. So having the rent be a little bit higher for all that makes this place a steal.
You have a good point. It's rare these days to find places that allow you to have pets for that cheap. Sorry about that. I was the one that wants a cat after we get married, so we'll definitely be paying a bit more for that.
No worries. I also want us to get a cat, so it's all good. But I'm a bit surprised by you wanting a cat. I mean, you've had dogs all your life, right? Why would you rather have a cat over a dog?
Well, I've just seen one of my friend's cats online a lot, and seeing it all the time has made me kind of learn to really love and want one.
I suppose seeing your friend's cute cat all the time would do that to someone. Having an animal at home is something really amazing, right?
That's right. Being able to call them over at any time and they just come right up to you, or just the fact that they look so darn cute doing their own thing. I can't wait to have a cat of our own.
If we're able to sign the contract and everything smoothly, you're fine with both of us moving out of our places as soon as possible, right?
Yeah, that should be fine. Once I get an okay from the realtor on the place, I'm going to get all my things packed and ready to go. And I'll make sure to let you know as well.
All right. Well, while you're out on your business trip, I'll start working small amounts of time on getting my things together, and I can even do the same for you if you want. I have the chance to help you out since you'll be out of town for a bit.
Well, I can handle most of my things when I'm back in town.
But you have lots of things to take over, right? So when I finish all my packing, I'll come over and help.
No, you really don't have to.
But you happen to have a pretty messy place normally, so why can't I come over and just tidy it up a bit? I don't really care that it's that messy, but
I really only like you there when it's looking nice. So you can wait to help me after I get back. I don't want you cleaning up after me even before we get married.
before I could believe that you'd end up cleaning your place out before because it was clean there.
And that's because before I really did put a lot of effort into it. But right now, I've left the place a real mess.
Well, just promise me that when we get to our new place together, you don't leave it messy all the time.
I won't. I'll have you around the house then, and won't want to turn you off. Ah, crap. I still haven't cleaned the suit that I plan to bring with me on the trip tomorrow.
Huh? Are you gonna be okay?
I'll toss it in the washer and then it'll dry after. It's going to be thrown in with my other clothes anyway tomorrow, so I don't need to wear it just yet.
We really have been all over the place now after deciding on the day we get married. And this trip is gonna be a week or so, right?
Yep. I'll be back during the middle of next week or so. When I'm back in town, I'll come over to your place.
Sounds good. Have a good trip tomorrow, and I hope everything goes well for you. I'll get in touch with you again tomorrow.
Alright. I'll send you a message when I'm on my way out to town as well. See you later.
Nate, how have you been feeling?
I'm doing a lot better now, Carrie. I'm even able to get back into the office today. Sorry that I wasn't able to come over yesterday.
No worries about that, it's fine. After getting back from the business trip, we've had to get ready for the move, right? I'm sure you haven't been feeling well now because you've gotten pretty exhausted, right?
I think that's what happened. When I get out of work today, I'm going to go straight back home to rest some more again.
That's a good idea. Are you alright on food and things like that? I can make you something simple and bring it over for you.
No, don't worry about that. You're a pretty busy woman right now, so I don't need you coming over here to care for me. And right now, the whole house is a bit messy, with all the boxes and stuff towered around waiting for the move. I'm going to stop by the gas station and grab some food, and then after eating, go right to bed.
Do you think you're going to be alright in 3 days when we have to go to the courthouse and file our marriage? You said you'd take the day off work for that, but, well, yesterday you had the day off work, and so I'm not sure they'll still let you have a day off for that.
You have a good point there. I told you before that I'd get the day off by using some of my PTO, but until that day, I'm going to have to get a lot of work done at the office and probably won't be able to see.
I see. Well then, how about I just stop over and get your signature and I'll run to the courthouse myself? And then I'll have your parents or my parents there as a witness to it.
Sure, that sounds a lot better.
By the way, Nate, I have something I kind of want to ask you, but it's a little bit out of nowhere.
What is it?
Did something happen to you? Ever since you came back from that business trip, you've been a bit strange.
What's been strange about me? Did I say something wrong?
Up until now, you've always been talking to me every day, but recently, if I don't send you a text, you won't say anything to me.
Well, I just haven't been feeling well enough to think about texting, nor have I really had the time to. So calling that strange of me is a bit... Well, I just don't like you calling something like that strange is all.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking a little bit about all of that, and I didn't know if you were aware of it as well.
Are you starting to rethink the two of us getting married or something? You have always been so excited to be with me, so it's a bit unnatural of you. Maybe this is what all of women are like?
That's not it. The other day you said you'd come over to see me, but instead you canceled those plans to go out drinking, right? You told me you were busy with work and that's why you couldn't come, but...
Huh?
Well, I heard from a friend of mine that they saw you while they were out, and since then you've been a bit off.
Ah, sorry about that. One of my friends from school is getting married and asked me to go out for some drinks with him beforehand. So I lied to you saying I was busy with work.
Well then, why didn't you just tell me that? Why would you lie about something so simple?
Well, I was going out with another woman drinking, and I didn't want to worry you by saying that what was really going on. Especially since we are so close to being married.
I'm more shocked by the fact that you hid all of that from me. From now on, I want you to tell me the truth, always.
I'm sorry, Carrie. I'll make sure that from now on I tell you everything, and the truth.
Please.
Has this made you rethink the two of us getting married in any way?
No, that's not happening. I just thought it would have been better if you had told me the truth about not meeting up with me. You're the one not feeling well right now, so I shouldn't have stressed you out about that just then. Sorry. I hope that's the case.
No problem. I got you all worked up over it, so that's my bad. But it won't be too much longer before you and I are living together forever. So when that starts, we won't have to feel worried about one another ever again.
I hope that's the case. Remember that you're not feeling 100% yet, so don't overdo anything. And if you need anything from me, just give me a call or a text.
Will do. Well, I'm getting back to work now. Good luck with your work, Carrie.
Nate, I'm sorry for trying to get a hold of you so many times, but I'm seriously worried about you. It's been 8 whole hours now since the two of us were supposed to meet. And I'd like it if you could at least send me something so that I know that you're safe or not. We can set up another day to do all this marriage paperwork. And if you have anything to say to me about the marriage, I'll listen to you. You don't even have to say anything to me about it. Tell your mom or your dad, just please send us something so that we know you're alive.
Carrie, I'm so sorry that I'm this late getting back to you.
What, Nate?
You must have really been worried about me, huh? You never heard from me for a whole month there.
Well, yeah.
I had a lot go on all at once, and that's why I wasn't able to reply to you. I'm sorry about the day we were supposed to get married. I got into an accident, and that day turned into weeks, and then a month, I lost memory of a lot of things, including you back then.
You were in an accident?
I was on my way to your place, but then something happened to me and I had to be put in the hospital. I could have never imagined I'd get into an accident on the day we were supposed to go to the courthouse. At the time, I didn't even know what happened to me, and I couldn't figure out what to do next.
Is that so?
But I've finally been able to remember everything, and that's why you were the first person I contacted today. I'm so sorry for making you wait. Now that I'm back, let's go get all of our things together and hand in our paperwork to the courthouse.
You really had to think about how to phrase that one, didn't you?
Huh?
I'm not going to the courthouse with you.
Why not?
You're asking me why, yet you're the one that should understand why the most, right? And this will only be the beginning of your hell, so don't you dare forget about today.
Carrie, have you forgotten about the love you had for me and no longer want me? I'm so sorry for not being able to be with you on the day we should have gotten to the courthouse and gotten married. But it's not like I chose not to go with you that day. I had that accident and everything. You understand what I'm saying, right?
You're lying about having forgotten about everything at the time due to memory loss, right?
I can understand why you think I might be lying, but it's true.
Then what hospital did you end up being admitted to?
Where was it again? I was only there for like a few days, so I just had to go in and get my injuries looked after, and then they let me loose.
You weren't talking with me for a month, though. So what was going on after you had left the hospital?
Well, the person that hit me with their car was very nice to me, and so for a little while, I was cared for by them at their house.
You had your wallet with you and everything, right? I'm sure that person knew who you were the moment they hit you and looked at your ID.
I ended up losing my wallet at the scene of the accident.
But you still had your smartphone on you, right?
I didn't remember my password at the time. I really don't remember all that went down back then because it's all a bit foggy still in my mind. So I really have no idea what's going on after the accident had happened.
Oh, is that right? So you must have been hit real hard in the head to have zero memory of what happened on the day you got into that accident and the events after.
Stop acting like I'm making this up, okay? The moment I got my memory back of who I was and what I was doing, I made this text to you, right? After looking at all the calls and texts from you, I can only imagine the fear and worry you had thinking about what happened to me. I understand that the pain all this has caused to you was the worst thing you've ever felt. But please, trust what I'm saying.
What you had done is not something I'm going to forgive, Nate.
What? Hold on a second. I just got back to my house and it seems that my key isn't opening the door for me.
Ah, well, your parents happened to take care of that place for you.
Huh? What do you mean? Why?
Well, that's because you ended up going out with another woman and left me for nothing, right? I know about everything you've been up to since the day you stopped talking to me. That's why I said what I said. You're about to experience hell from now on.
You think I cheated on you? Why would you think something like that? I told you all that happened was I was in an accident and for about a month I couldn't message you.
You really think a lie like that is gonna fly? When you stopped talking to me or replying to anything we sent you, your parents and I went everywhere looking and checking to see if you were okay. We thought that there was a chance you were in an accident, and that's why we called the police and searched all the hospitals around. But we were never able to find you anywhere, so that crap about you being in an accident was all a lie.
No, I'm being serious about getting into an accident. I didn't even know my own name at the time, so that's why you were never able to find me.
And the police helped us by going out searching for people that might have ended up that way.
How many people do you think there are in this state that end up having memory loss and all of that? There's no way the police were able to search through everyone.
Well, it didn't take them all too long, since there were only 35 in the state at the time.
Well, they might have missed me or something, right? Why can't you just believe what I'm telling you? You think that because I never came in on the day of our courthouse visit and never contacted you that I was actually out cheating? That's so mean of you, Carrie. I'm coming back from a horrible accident asking to marry you, and this is how you're going to treat me?
Then who's this Lily that works at a strip club? I bet you're wondering why I know about her, right? Well, the police allowed me to get a detective to search for you, and they spend days going through all the messages the two of you sent over the internet. You happen to follow her on a lot of social media, right? You've liked a bunch of her photos and videos, and even made comments on all her posts. She even happens to have a cat. How funny is that? You told me you wanted to get a cat after we got married, right? Maybe this Lily is the reason for that.
Hold on for a minute. I'm kind of surprised you'd make an accusation like that just from the things you've seen on social media.
Oh, please, Nate, are you an idiot or something? I'm not making an accusation like this because of all that. Those posts that you liked of hers and all the comments and messaging with her are just the start. When you happen to get into that accident and say that you don't remember anything, that was the time Lily quit her job at the strip club because she said she was going to marry you, right?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, she's back working there now. That's because she ended things with you, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'd like you to stop thinking I've had anything to do with her just based off of that.
You're gonna keep this up, Nate. Well, the detective went out and got a few pictures of you going over to Lily's house with her. What do you make of that? Everybody knows that you were cheating on me, and there's no way of hiding it now. So that's why I'm not getting married to you now. What the hell is this about getting into an accident and losing your memory?
But I told you already that I did lose my memory.
No, you just left me for her, and when marrying her failed, you came right back to me, right? I'll let you know that for the time being, your parents will be paying the settlement that I've asked for from you in your place. But once you're back around them, I'd like for you to pay them back for all the money they've given me.
You think I actually broke things off with you right before we were supposed to get married?
I'm right about it though, right? You left me on the day we were supposed to go to the courthouse and file our marriage and then cheated on me.
Wait, I really have learned that you're the woman that I truly love, Carrie. So I left Lily and came back for you.
Is that what happened? Well, that doesn't make me any more happy. You should have just married that woman.
Well, that chick could not cook to save her life, nor could she get the chores done. And she really loved using my money up. I gave up my job and my family for her, because she told me that everyone would celebrate us getting married and give me tons of money for it.
Really? Well, I don't give a crap. Sucks to be you.
And that's when I learned that you really are the one I care about. I can't be with some money-burning, shameful woman like her when I have you around to love. You're even good at doing chores and cooking, right? And that's why I felt that you really are the one for me, and that I need to marry you. I'm sorry for not showing on that day, but I've learned that you're the one that I love, so you don't have to worry anymore.
Have you listened to a word I've said? I told you that I don't want to marry you anymore. You think I'm that pathetic where I'd marry someone who left me right before we got married to be with a stripper? You can see me as that much of a brainless idiot?
You and I were doing so well before.
We sure were, right? But you went ahead and cheated on me and ruined everything we had built together. So now you're gonna be responsible for what you've done, please. And as for your things, they're all at that new house waiting for you.
Huh? You sent it all to the new house?
And the rent has been paid for using your money from your bank account, so if you'd like to move into it now, you'd better hurry up.
You didn't end up canceling the contract signed on that place?
I didn't.
I wasn't even around, so why did you leave me as the one renting it?
Well, that's because we learned about how you were cheating on me. And since you were the one paying for the place, I just assumed that when you saw the first month's rent being taken, you'd give the realtor a call about it and cancel your contract. I had wanted to ask about what we should do with your place, and your parents ended up making the final choice. I'm shocked to see after a month of never talking to me has passed, you're back to even asking me to marry you.
That's messed up. And now I've got to pay my parents back for a settlement they paid to you?
Yep. They had to pay for me to find a new place to live and pay for me having to hire a moving team to do the work for me. So that's part of the settlement, as well as the part for cheating on me while we were engaged. All of that together was around $50,000.
Huh? $50,000?
You had $30,000 in savings, didn't you? You can hand that to them right now, and for the next few months, you'll have to pay that remaining $20,000 to the both of them.
Hold on a moment. I have to pay for that new place rent as well. And for the past month, I haven't been working any. If anything, they've already fired me for not showing up to work.
I don't care. You're the one that chose to cheat on me, right?
Carrie, where are you right now? Allow me to meet you once. I have a lot I want to talk about in person with you. Allow me to apologize to you in person for what happened today.
There's no need for that. I'm actually quite happy that I never got married to you. I could already tell by the way you were acting the day before we were supposed to go to the courthouse that you had something else you were hiding from me, right?
You've got that all wrong. I was really confused on what to do that day. I'm sorry, but I just happened to be a very indecisive person at times.
Well, I'm not the kind of person who has time for indecisiveness, especially when it involves you cheating on me and ghosting me for a month. You're only back here now because things with her didn't work out. How much farther are you going to try to take this, Nate? Do you seriously think I'm that much of an idiot?
I'm not trying to do anything wrong here. I finally figured out who's the most important person to me. And that person is only you, Carrie. So please don't throw me away now. I promise that I'll never cheat on you again.
You threw me away first, Nate, so you should have just stayed away from me and never came back. Are you kidding me trying to use memory loss from an accident as your excuse? I'm not going to ever trust someone again who uses that as their excuse for everything. There is no more wanting to marry you left in me anymore, so just go back to your stripper or something, you jerk. From there, Nate went back to his parents' house and apologized to the both of them. Of course, neither of them were going to forgive him and took him to his bank where he transferred all of that $30,000 into their bank account. They were able to get that much from him to start at least. And the remaining $20,000 will have to be paid off to them starting now, and that's what the plan is. But due to the cost of the rent on that new place he has, he will never be able to make enough to cover both every month. And following him taking a whole month off work unannounced, the company let him come back to work, but only for one day where they told him to never come back again. And so, as for now, he no longer has himself a job. And since he hasn't lived in that new place a whole year yet, like the contract stated, he's going to have to pay a fine. So, since he has no way of moving out of that new place, he's only left with having to find a way to pay that rent every month. He was able to find himself a job working in a steel factory, but the work is tough on him, and he doesn't make enough yet to cover all his bases. I think it's a great thing to see that he's going to be living in hell for a very long time, and I hope he serves his time well there. When I first realized that my fiancé was never going to show up to the courthouse to marry me, I thought my life was over. But from there, I was able to learn about the person he really was, and that began to make those feelings of sadness and loneliness turn into feelings of anger and vengeance. I thought those negative feelings would eat me alive, but I was lucky to have my family there, as well as his family and friends, to support me in making the appropriate choices. I'm not 100% confident that I'm okay with all that's happened yet, but I will say that I'm really glad I never married him. And I'm sure the rest of my feelings will fade over time. I'm sure that by the time I'm a lot older and wiser, I'll look back on all of this and laugh about how stupid and terrible of a man Nate really was to me.
Tammy, I can see that even today, Hannah has gone over there to play with you. I'm sorry that recently she's been going over to your house so often.
Oh, you don't have to worry about her being here all the time, Sherry. Before I moved into the neighborhood, the only way I could see her was by driving all the way into town, right? And both myself and my husband are always so happy to have her come over to play.
But you only just moved into town around a week ago, right? And this week you've been working on cleaning the place up, right? Are you sure that she's not getting in you guys' way?
Not at all. She's even been helping us clean things up over here. So you really don't have to worry about her being over here at all.
Is that so? Well, if you guys are all okay with it, then I suppose it's fine for her to be there so often. If Hannah happens to say anything interesting or out of the blue, just let me know and then you both can stop worrying about it.
She hasn't said anything out of the ordinary thus far, and she's been a really kind and thoughtful girl around us. She is way different from her dad, who was a real handful back when he was her age. I bet all this has to do with you raising her right. Thank you so much for bringing us this grandchild.
No, don't worry about it. And as for me raising her, it's been a real uphill battle for me. She's only just begun to understand a lot of what I tell her now, and she's already in 4th grade. But even though she understands me, she still doesn't bother to listen to anything I tell her.
Well, she is still pretty young, so at times she'll have moments like that where she wants to act a little on her own. Don't worry about it, though. Really. Just continue being a great mom to her, okay?
Thank you for saying that. But things will only become a lot more difficult for her here, so I'm just a little bit worried about all of that. And when it comes to young girls, they start puberty at a much younger age, right? Even her friends have started talking about what boys they like and all of that stuff, and they're only in 4th grade.
Well, it's becoming that time, right?
And as for some of her classmates, they are beginning to have their hair dyed. There's even this one girl that's beginning to put on makeup already. If Hannah begins to take after girls like them, I'm afraid things will only become tougher for me as her mother. I'm worried about all of that, Tammy.
Even if she happens to pick up on some things some of her classmates are doing, she'll always be your little girl. She's already changed a lot from when she was really young, right? Look, it's just that stage in her life where she'll begin to learn a whole bunch of new things. She's going to have all sorts of people around her, and coming from someone like me, I think that's going to be a wonderful thing for her.
Well, I guess so. I guess if she does happen to get into makeup already, it's better than things that are far worse for her. I'm sure I'm just overthinking all of this a bit too much right now.
I think so. I really think that Hannah is going to be just fine. And us, as her adults, have to believe in her and trust that she'll be all right on her own. I'm sorry about that. We've been talking for a while now, haven't we?
No worries. I was the one that started this whole conversation.
Well, my husband is going to be arriving home really soon, so I have to get started on making dinner for us. Now, Sherry, I'll see you soon. And when it comes to you, you are welcome over to our house anytime as well.
All right, the next time my husband has a day off work, we might stop by and say hi. I'll get out of your hair now.
Sherry, do you have a moment to chat?
Sure, I have a little bit of time to talk.
Hannah is asking me if it's all right to stay over this Saturday night at our place, and that night my son shouldn't be working his night shift, right? We don't really mind her being here at all, and actually wouldn't mind you guys joining as well. What do you think? You wouldn't mind her and even you guys coming over to stay, right?
Tammy, you have been doing a really great job caring for Hannah for me, so I really hate to have to say this to you, but, well, I feel that you and Hannah are becoming a little too close to one another. Ever since you and your husband moved into the neighborhood and a whole lot closer to us, Hannah has been over there and hasn't been focusing on her homework. If you don't mind, can we change a few things around to help her out?
Huh? She's been putting off her homework to come over to our house?
Yes.
Is that right? Sherry, I'm so sorry about that. I'll let Hannah know that if she wants to come over to our house to play, she has to bring her homework with her as well.
No, not something like that. It's not just about her not doing her homework. The problem I have with her going over to your place all the time right now is that she's doing it as a way of running away from us. I get that it might be due to my always getting on her about many different things, but when she runs off to your guys' house, there is nothing I can do about her. And so she started to use that as a way of escaping me and being around two people that would never yell at her.
I'm sorry about that. We won't do anything to get her to come over to our place.
Thanks. So, can you tell her to come back to our place and that she won't be able to meet you guys for a little while? I'm really happy that you want to treat her so well, but we have to start thinking about raising her to understand that she needs to get her work done and be responsible. And as her mother, it makes me worry a lot about her not knowing what she's getting into when she's not at home. I'd love to let her out of the house more and have her be responsible for herself, but there are times where that is just not possible for her and I, so...
Sherry, I really am sorry for having her over all the time. I guess my husband and I weren't being careful enough with her. Thank you for mentioning something so hard to talk about with us.
Thank you. And as long as you understand what I want, we can be finished here. Compared to a lot of my friends' parents and in-laws, you and your husband are two very special and kind people. And I'd someday love to become a parent like you.
Being able to see Hannah all the time after being so far away for so long. I must have gotten a little carried away myself with having her over every day. I'm sorry for doing something so embarrassing. I'll make sure that from now on she remains over at your place and takes a little bit more responsibility for herself.
Please and thank you. I want Hannah to do what she needs to do before going off to play, and I need to make sure I teach her well enough as well about that sort of thing. So until I've raised her myself a bit more and she's a bit more well-disciplined, please think of things as the way they were before you guys moved into town.
Sure, I'll do that.
Also, what I've just talked with you about right now, I'd like for you to keep a secret from my husband. He happens to spoil Hannah a little bit too much, so if he found out that I was taking her away from her grandparents for a little bit, he might try to fight me on it.
All right, I'll keep all of this a secret from him for you.
Thank you.
And if by any chance something like this leads to him getting into a fight with you, I promise I'll lay into him a little bit for you. After all, it's my husband and I who messed up by having her over here a little too often.
No, the reason for all of this is everyone being too nice to Hannah.
But when she's over here, it's not all fun and games, as she helps me with the chores quite a lot. So we shouldn't be using her as often as we have been for things like that. So I was really hoping she was doing all of that without skipping things like her homework and such. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't understand her responsibilities as much as I should have.
No worries. You don't have to be sorry for that. I understand how both you and your husband felt. I'll make sure not to punish Hannah too much for what she's been doing.
Thank you, Sherry. Then, can you tell Hannah to do her best with her homework for me?
Will do. But just make sure that from now on, you have nothing to do with my daughter and how her life is over here, please. You may be her grandmother, but she needs to be around her mother right now and properly disciplined for her actions. If you do happen to do anything to get in the way of this minor punishment, I might have to rethink letting her go to see you both at all.
Jeremiah, what is going on over there?
What's going on with you, Mom?
I'm talking about Hannah. You and your wife should be more aware of what's going on with your daughter, as you are both her parents, right? I understand that your dad and I can't be her parents all the time anymore, right? And normally I wouldn't say anything to you about your guys' parenting styles, but this time I'm not going to let you get away with what's been going on there.
This time? Can you explain to me what all of this is about? And by the way, do you know what time it is right now? Are you sure you're not just sleepwalking or something right now?
I'm wide awake now. Kicking your daughter out of the house this late at night, Jeremiah? What the hell are you and Sherry thinking? What has happened to the two of you being Hannah's parents? No matter how you try and explain this, it's all really messed up. It's even raining right now outside and the temperature is in the 40s. You really did it this time, sending your little daughter out into the freezing rain in the middle of the night like that.
Hannah's outside? What? I'm at work right now working a night shift, Mom.
You're working overnight tonight? So you're telling me that this was all Sherry's idea, having Hannah kicked out of the house?
What do you even mean when you say that she's been outside this whole time? Tell me everything right now.
She told me that she can't get back into her house, so she wants to come stay here. I just got a phone call from her a little while ago, and so I went over to get her. And when I arrived there, I picked her up as she was drenched head to toe and brought her back to our place and put her in the bathtub.
It's almost 1 a.m, Mom. Why the hell was Hannah outside at this time?
And I thought you'd know more about this than me. Normally, something like this isn't happening over at your place, right?
This is the first time I'm ever hearing about her being put outside this late at night.
A while back, I was told by your wife that she was going to start disciplining Hannah a bit more now. Perhaps Hannah has been getting a little too much out of hand for Sherry, and that's why?
No. Normally, Hannah is really good at listening to what she's been told and following it. And I don't even remember the last time she made Shari mad over her behavior.
Then why has this happened to Hannah? Give me a second. Hannah is coming out of the bathtub now.
Hannah's doing all right now, right? And also, why the hell was she left outside at this time of night?
Right now your dad is asking her those questions, but he's not able to get an answer out of her. It's like she doesn't want to say anything to us. But she's telling us not to tell her mom about any of this? I knew this had something to do with Sherry.
Mom, I'm going to start heading over there right now.
Can you do something for me? I need you to stay around your daughter from now on, because I think things will be a lot better with you by her side. And one other thing. I don't think you should contact Sherry about any of this just yet, okay? First, we need to hear what story Hannah has to give us, and then we can figure out what to do about Sherry.
Let's do that. I'm sorry, Mom.
It's all right, Jeremiah. You didn't know anything about this either, so no need for you to apologize about it.
No, there is one thing I forgot to mention regarding this.
Huh?
I'm sorry. When I get to your place, I'll tell you all about it. I have some things I want to talk with you about in person regarding it anyway. I'm coming back home now.
Huh? Why right now? You're coming home a lot sooner than you normally do, Jeremiah. You're usually always coming home around 9 or 10 o'clock, right?
Well, what's wrong with me coming home a bit earlier today? I just happened to finish up my work a bit early, and the company needs to cut some hours back for some of the workers. So I'll be coming home now and should be there in a little bit.
Hey, hold on. I have something I'd like you to go out and buy for me on your way home. Can you stop by the supermarket and pick me up some eggs and milk? And along with that, stop by my favorite cafe and pick up this new latte for me, please.
It's only 7 in the morning right now. If I go to one of the larger stores, they are open 24 hours, but that's a bit out of my way. And as for your favorite cafe, they don't even open until 9. You can run out and get those things later.
You can't just head out to one of those other stores and then by the time you're on your way back, have it be 9 and stop by that cafe. I really want to try out that new latte after all.
You expect me going to another store to take 2 hours? Are you trying to get yourself some more time with me out of the house?
Huh?
Shari, right now you're running around like a chicken with his head cut off. I'm sure that Hannah wasn't at the park you usually have her playing at when you went out to get her. And when you just tried calling on that phone we gave her, she didn't answer. That's probably why you don't want me coming home quite yet, huh?
Is Hannah with you right now, Jeremiah?
She is.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. When I had woken up this morning, her and I got into a fight and she ran off. She's been doing that a lot recently with me. Can you tell her that Mom is no longer mad at her?
Hannah never ran out of the house to get away from you. Rather, she was kicked out of that house, right?
What do you mean by everything?
She's told me about everything that happened between you two. In the middle of the night, you told her that if she really wants to go over to her grandma's that badly, she can walk there. And then you kicked her out of the house, saying that if she doesn't make it to my mom's house, she can sleep in the park, right? And it wasn't just this time that you kicked her out, but other nights that I've been working as well.
What are you talking about? Why would I ever do that to our precious little girl? You know for a fact that she's just lying to you again. It's because we had a small fight that she's trying to make me seem like the bad one.
I'm on Hannah's side right now, Shari. After all, I went and made sure that what she was telling me was true. I know now that you have been having another man over during the nights I'm at home. He'll come into our house all quietly, and you thought that by having him sneak into our bedroom with you, nobody would ever notice him there, but...
Jeremiah, listen. To tell you the truth, yesterday I went out for a bit as well. And when I came back, a friend and her husband came back home with me for a bit.
She heard your voice, and she told me that she heard that man calling you Shari as you both played in our bed. And actually, we have all of that audio recorded, so I can send it to you right now if you like.
I'm so sorry.
We're getting a divorce, and along with that, I'll be getting full custody of Hannah.
Wait, Jeremiah, can you let me explain things to you in detail?
I don't care to talk to you about anything else with you anymore.
But I have something to say. I don't want the two of us getting a divorce over this. I really do care about both Hannah and you, Jeremiah, so please don't leave me.
Sherry, this is Jeremiah's mother.
Tammy?
Yes. I have a few things I'd like to say to you now, so I had him hand his phone off to me.
Tammy, please help. Can you please talk with your son about giving me a chance to explain all of this to him? I don't want either my husband or my daughter to leave me.
Sherry, do you have any idea the amount of terrible things you've done to my family?
I do. I really do. And that's why I want to apologize for all of it.
I'm telling you right now that this isn't something you can solve with a simple apology. Last night, I got a phone call from Hannah telling me a lot of things. She was asking for me to come there and get her while she was standing outside in the freezing rain. And when things finally all settled down and I had time to talk with her some more, she told me this wasn't even the first time. She's told me that there have been at least 10 times now where you've kicked her out of the house during the night.
I don't think it's been that many times. I think she just has a bad memory.
Even if this was the only time it's happened, that's more than enough to show me that you don't deserve her in your life. Also, another man called last night, and I had no idea who it was. He told me to hand Hannah back over to him, and that's probably why she asked for me to come and pick her up as well. I was freaking out thinking about what could have happened to her if that man had gotten to her before me. He seemed like he was losing it because he was so angry at me. I couldn't believe myself last night thinking that you of all people would do something like this to your own family.
Tammy, I'm so sorry. I promise that I'll never do anything like that to Hannah again. My heart has already changed, and I'll make sure that the both of them are loved by me more than they have ever been before. So please find it in your heart to help me save my family.
You don't have any more chances at that, Sherry. I want you to regret every day that's gone by that where you've chosen to love that other man instead of my son and granddaughter. I bet you never thought we'd find out about all that, right? The funny thing is, months ago you were talking with me about disciplining your daughter more, but it seems you need to be disciplined. Bringing over a man to have sleep with you when your husband wasn't home, and kicking your daughter out of the house so you could have that alone time with him. I wonder how Hannah turned out to be such a wonderful child when she has a crappy mother like you raising her.
I don't think Hannah ever actually knew about the man I was bringing over.
Hannah knows about him very well, Sherry. She said she didn't want to run away from your house at night because she was afraid of what you and him would do to her. And so she'd just sit out there waiting for you two to finish up. And while she was out there in the middle of the night, she said she could see that man going in and out quite often and would even hear you both in bed sometimes. You might have thought she'd never care about any of that because she's just a child, but you're far from right.
I'm sorry. I really messed up this time. But I've been having a lot of problems myself. Recently, my husband and I haven't been having the best relationship at home. I felt so lonely for the past year that I needed someone there for me. I get that it's wrong to cheat on him to find that bit of warmth in someone else. But it wasn't me that caused all of this mess to happen.
My son seems to have been doubting your loyalty to him for a long time now.
What?
And the reason for him being so cold to you recently is because of you being with another man. I'm sure that to you going out with that other man and having him over to you guys' house was just for fun. But that choice that you made started to make changes to the life you had with Jeremiah and Hannah. And it was noticeable. Jeremiah thought that by having Hannah around the house that you guys would be able to stay strong and you'd stop playing with that other man. But that didn't seem to change anything.
He should have just said something if he was so skeptical of me.
And I'm sure another piece to the problem was creating an environment where he couldn't bring up anything like that with you. Of course, it's not normal for a divorce to happen over one small screw-up. But hey, this isn't the first time things like this have happened around you two, right?
I'm sorry, Tammy. Please forgive me for all of this.
And you can tell that to Jeremiah when the time comes for the divorce. You'll have to talk about things like custody of Hannah as well then. So you do have one chance to try and save your skin, Sherry.
I promise that I will literally never do anything like this ever again. I will never stab either my husband or my daughter in the back ever again. I will become the perfect wife and mother that they both deserve. Tammy, find some way to help me out. I don't want Jeremiah to leave me.
I don't have anything to do with you and my son. But the fact that you got Hannah involved in all of this means that I do have something to say about everything. And that's that you are 100% in the wrong here. So even if my son was to forgive you, I will never, ever let you around my granddaughter ever again. You don't have a right to call yourself a mother to begin with. So my husband and I, along with my son, will be raising Hannah here from now on. You happen to like people being disciplined quite a lot, right? So I don't want to hear a word out of your mouth about this then. From there, my son and Sherry got a divorce, and the custody of Hannah was given to my son. And when it comes to the man that Sherry had been going out with, they both met on a dating app, and so the both of them were only into it for the fun. But to my son, that doesn't change the fact that she'd been sleeping with another man, and sometimes in his own bed. He was also aware that Sherry was married to Jeremiah, so Jeremiah made sure to get a huge settlement from him. He even came to one of the meetings with Sherry, Jeremiah, and Jeremiah's lawyer to say that he was sorry for what he'd done, but knew that that wasn't going to change Jeremiah's mind at all. And of course he was right, as Jeremiah still went along with getting that money from him and making sure he understood that what he'd done was very wrong. After getting the money he asked for from Sherry's secret man, he was also able to get a settlement from Sherry, as well as will continue to receive child support from her until Hannah turns 18. After the divorce, Sherry ended up going back home to her parents' place, but soon after was kicked out of their house. As of right now, it's not really known what Sherry is doing now that even her family doesn't want anything to do with her. But after thinking about what she'd done to her own husband and daughter, there is no need for me to care about what happens with her out in this cold and difficult world. I'm praying that someone like her never makes an appearance in our lives ever again, and never shows her face around Hannah. It's been a few months now since my son divorced Sherry, and right now he's got a new house where he's living with Hannah. And on days where he has to work night shifts, he sends Hannah over to our place to stay and play with us and stay the night. Hannah is really happy that she has 2 houses now that she can have fun at. If it was never for my husband and I moving closer to my son and his family, things would have ended up a lot differently for everyone. Hannah would have never had a place to run and hide, and Sherry would have had her way with everyone, including my son, at that place. But I'm glad a situation like that never happened, and that we got to see our granddaughter smiling and laughing every day around us. I just wish that everyone noticed what Sherry was doing sooner, so that we could have stepped in and saved Hannah before she was tossed out of her house so many times. But to make sure she never has to think about something like that again, we're all going to support her in letting her know how loved she really is. And hopefully that will let her know just how much we care about her. We will do everything in our power to heal those wounds that Sherry created so that she can live a long and happy life amongst her family and friends. So let's this be my final message saying that Hannah is going to be raised properly by us 3. And will never have to live another night outside in the rain, ever again.
Mom, there's something I'd like to ask from you.
Nice to hear from you, Carson. What do you need from me?
I'm kind of wondering if, for a little while, you'd be willing to come over to my house. Of course, I don't mind you only coming when you have time to.
You want me to start coming over to your house? What for?
Well, actually, Christy hasn't been feeling too well lately. So, things like taking care of the house and parenting has been tough on her.
Is Christy going to be okay, though? Have you two gone to the doctors yet to talk with them? Are you sure that she hasn't come down with something serious like the flu?
She's not sick with anything that's causing her to be on her deathbed or anything. Well, let's just say that it hasn't gotten that bad yet.
But you're not going to tell me what she has. Are you sure she's doing okay at the moment?
Well, we're really not sure what's up with her besides that she might just be really exhausted from having to handle everything at home and isn't really doing too well mentally. When we did see a doctor about it, they told us she most likely needs some time to herself for a while. He felt that a few weeks off of doing anything stressful should help her get her energy back up. I can definitely tell that she's been in a slump lately, though. Waking up every morning has been like a battle for her.
And having a little one at only 3 years old probably doesn't help the situation for her any. I think right now is one of the most difficult times for us women when we become a mother.
She's sitting in a daycare right now, but that's only for a few hours, then he's right back by her side. So she really doesn't get any breaks. I'm able to take care of things on the weekends, but that's not enough for Chrissy to catch any breaks. I think she's really had enough for a while.
I think so as well. And when it comes to you coming home from work, you're usually not able to get out of work until later in the evening. Being around a toddler and having to do all the chores all day every day must really be taking a toll on her.
When you had to raise me around that age, was it tough for you too?
Well, of course it was. You never listened to a single word I said to you. And when I'd take my eyes off of you for not even a second, you'd run off somewhere. However, I never had it as bad as Christy, obviously, as I never had to deal with my health deteriorating from taking care of you. At least I had a few days where I'd get out of the house and refresh myself.
Is that right? Sorry about that.
You don't have to apologize for back then. You were just a toddler back then, and I was just a young mother at the time. I had to rely on your grandma a few times to watch over you when I'd take a day off. But she started to get upset with me for that, so I had to get back to work with you. However, when I really think about it all now, it makes sense why she got upset with me for always wanting to take a day off. But of course, everyone deserves at least a small break when having to do all the work at home while also raising a baby.
I really wish I could create more time to be home to help with chores and raising our kid. I've left Christy with all the important work and it's destroying her. Of course, I know that she understands that it's all necessary, but... Well, anyway, Mom, I'd really like for you to help us out for a bit here. Just until she's able to get her strength back and starts getting back to it. I understand that you have a lot going on yourself these days, but what do you think? We really only need you around to help with the chores. Christy can handle our boy.
I'll be over there whenever you need me. So you're fine with me just doing the chores around you guys' house? You'd be fine with me watching after him after he gets home from daycare as well, right?
Don't worry. We're going to have him go to another daycare actually, where he can be looked after for the whole day. So, you really don't have to worry about him any. They will be able to handle him for the whole day as well as feed him and all that.
Well, if that's what you want to do with him. So I'll just be in charge of handling the chores and cooking.
Yep. Christy will be sleeping for most of the day besides when she has to go to daycare and back. So it'll just be you handling all of the housework and all that.
I don't mind that at all. She isn't in the best of shape, so she deserves to catch up on whatever rest she needs. So should I start coming over there tomorrow?
That would be great, Mom. I'll drop off the key to our house while I'm on my way to work tomorrow, so you can get it from me then.
Huh? But isn't Christy going to be at your house?
She's actually got to go to the hospital tomorrow. So I don't think there will be anyone at the house with you for most of the day.
Is that so? All right, then. Then I guess I'll have to let myself in. I'll make sure not to go through cleaning all your drawers and things like that, but everything else will get cleaned. And as for dinner, I'll make sure to have that ready for everyone by the time you get home.
Really? That would be amazing, Mom. I'm sorry to have to ask you to make dinner that late in the day, but please?
I know what all you like to eat, but what about Christy and the baby? Do they have any allergies or things that they don't want to eat?
Those two don't have any allergies to anything. But our boy doesn't really like to eat carrots.
Sounds good. I'll do my best to make things for him that don't include carrots then. Starting tomorrow, I'll get a feel for what it's like to do the chores and cooking in your house, and from there, I'll set up a schedule. How does that work for you?
That's fine. I don't mind that at all. Mom, I'm really sorry if this gets in the way of any of your plans.
You're not getting in the way of anything important. We love to help one another in this family, and it makes me happy that you're asking me to help you all out. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. What time will you be home from the hospital today?
Shauna, you're still over at our house right now?
That's right. I wanted to get a head start on cooking up you guys' dinner for tonight, so that's why I'm still around right now. Also, I have something I'd like to talk with you about. And I'd rather we talk about it in person when you get back home today.
I'm sorry. I think I'll be at the hospital for a little while longer today. So if you could just ask me right now through text, that would help me out a ton.
I suppose I will then. Well, this has to do with some of your cleaning supplies. I'd like to go out and buy some more things. Your husband was able to tell me where the extra laundry detergent was, but there's not much left of it now. And as for a lot of the other cleaning supplies, we're going to need some more. I just wanted to ask if you knew of any other places in your house where there might be some cleaning supplies for me.
Nope. Besides on top of the cabinet, there isn't anywhere else that we keep our cleaning supplies.
Are you sure? Because you all didn't have a whole lot to begin with, so maybe you guys aren't really used to using all the cleaning supplies I normally use? Are you guys more into just using soap and water for a lot of the cleaning?
Well, it's not really like that, but I've just been able to clean the house with whatever's been above that cabinet.
Well, that seems to be the case then. Then you wouldn't mind me going out to buy some more, right?
Sure. Go ahead and get whatever you'd like. I don't really care what you get to help clean the house since you're the one doing all that work. And you don't even have to bother asking me questions about the cleaning from now on there. As long as you're not getting into any of our private drawers and things like that, I don't care what you do or clean.
I promise not to clean anything that you guys don't want me touching, so don't worry about that. So now, Christy, how have you been feeling lately? I haven't really heard too much from Carson about how you're doing, so I'm a bit curious. Are you starting to feel any better now that you're getting plenty of time to rest again?
It's only been a week, Shauna. What makes you think anything could change in such a short amount of time? I'm still feeling like crap, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be this way for me.
Well, I guess you're right. Well, if there's anything else you need from me, let me know. I want to do anything I can to make sure that you're feeling better again.
Alright. But in your case, all you need to do are the chores and the cooking, and that will be enough. Are we done here now? There's nothing left that you have to ask me about, right?
Right. There's nothing else. Well, there is something to do with some people living in this apartment building with you that's caught my attention. I had met with a couple of moms the other day that happened to have kids around the same age as your son, and we talked for a bit. Well, when I went up to talk to them about how things have been going around here, they all ignored me and walked away. So I guess I really didn't talk with them more than just a mere introduction. It was like they all gave me the cold shoulder right after I introduced myself.
Didn't I tell you to only work on cleaning and cooking within our place? You shouldn't be going around talking to all of them, okay? I think it was totally natural for all of them to ignore you when none of them even care about who you are. You don't even live in the apartment building either. If you keep that up, one of them might end up calling the police on you or something, thinking that you're up to no good.
But we happen to cross each other's paths every so often at the elevator or at the front door. So I just thought it'd be nice of me to talk with them.
Today isn't like the old days that you used to live in. These days, most people don't want to talk to strangers, so can you please just leave all of them alone for me? If you keep all of that crap up, they're all going to start thinking my family is weird and things like that.
I'm sorry about that, Christy. I'll make sure to leave them all alone from now on.
I'm just starting to get back into a good mental state again. So could you please stop doing things that'll stress me out again?
I will. I promise I won't do anything else like that again, so you can relax now.
Sorry. I'm going to feel sick again, so I'll be going.
I'm sorry for doing something that stressed you out so much, Christy. I'll make sure that when I'm back here in a couple of days, I bring a bunch of new cleaning supplies to work with. If there's anything you need me to grab for you while I'm out shopping, just let me know. I'll make sure to buy it for you.
I'm totally fine, Shauna. Just leave me as I am, and that helped me out a bunch. Now I'm going to stop talking.
Mom, I know that we've been the ones asking you to be here all the time, so I feel bad saying this, but you no longer have to come to our house anymore.
Huh? What's happened to make you change your mind? Does this mean that Christy has started to feel better again and can get back to being a mother?
That's not it. Because of you doing things you shouldn't have been doing, things have gotten worse.
I haven't done anything besides clean the house and cook for you guys.
Recently, you went out to buy some cleaning supplies for us to help restock everything, right? But you started to text Christy about it, nagging her about how she didn't have enough supplies for you to work with and that she needs to do better next time, right?
I was never nagging her about it. I was only asking her if it was okay for me to go out and buy more things. That way I could get back to cleaning everything in the house for you all. Look, I get that there are minimalist people out there, right? I understand completely that some people don't want to use a whole bunch of different cleaning supplies when doing the chores. So I had only asked her if it was fine for me to buy a few more things to help me out when I clean.
But you did ask her about how she doesn't use a lot of things for cleaning, right?
I wasn't trying to say anything bad about her style of cleaning, though.
Also, I hear that you had spoken with some of the other people living within our apartment building, right? Right now, you are causing a lot of stress for Christy while she's already been dealing with a lot of trauma. And now everyone around her, including those moms, have been wondering how she's doing. We thought you understood not to talk with anyone in the apartment building, to try and keep all of this on the down low. Christy is telling me that she no longer wants to see you anymore, okay?
Well, if she's going to say something like that about me, then I have something to say about her myself.
I'm asking you not to say anything. For the time being, you are no longer allowed near us or the house. I get that I'm the one that asked you to come here and help, but I don't want you to cause her any more trouble. So I'd like you to just remain distant from my family.
So that disgusting witch is going to try running away from me now, is she? Well, whether it was today or next week, something like this was bound to happen.
Huh? Disgusting witch? The fact that you're not even going to come and say that to my face makes you a freaking coward. Why would you talk about someone who's struggling with their mental health like that? I seriously never thought you were the type of person that would partake in bullying my wife. The fact that you're acting this way now is putting you in a terrible position.
Carson, I really do think that you being this kind to everyone is a great characteristic of yours. But being nice about everything your wife has been doing is only going to lead you down a heartbreaking path.
What the heck are you talking about?
That Christy, I don't think she's sick with anything at all.
And what makes you think you have the right to think anything like that of her?
Well, can you tell me the name of the hospital she's currently having to go to every day? And can you tell me what kind of medications she's taken to help her feel better?
I don't really ask her about those things. But I've heard about everything she's going through right now. And I see her taking her medications anytime we are eating together.
Well, ever since I've started to clean up around your house and do all of those things, I've noticed something very interesting.
And what interesting thing is that? Did something happen that piqued your interest that much?
When I was just starting to clean you guys' house for you, I noticed that you didn't have enough supplies to clean much of anything in there.
And I told you that Christy has been doing perfectly fine with that minimal amount of supplies.
And I'm sure there are times you help clean around the house and such, but you guys are only wiping off the dinner table and maybe running the vacuum cleaner at most there, right?
Well,
when it comes to actually cleaning the windows and going through with a duster and things like that, you guys aren't doing any of it. Not even bothering to wipe down the kitchen floors every now and then. I don't think anyone in their right mind would say the amount of work you're putting in is enough to call your place clean. But you did say to me that before she started to feel sick, the house was all clean and everything, right?
yeah.
Well, look, the house was clean, but not because of your wife. She's been having all the moms in your apartment building do all the cleaning for you guys. The other moms would all bring their own cleaning supplies to your place and would proceed to clean up everywhere that Christy told them to. And that's why your place was so clean before Christy became sick.
Huh? Why?
I don't know why she'd be doing something like that. The only thing I can say is that she's always been that kind of woman. She's the kind of person that makes others do all the work for her. But after one of those moms would no longer clean for her, she'd find another mom to force into helping around the house. However, they soon began to learn all about Christy's dark side. And when they all learned about Christy, they used her secrets as a way to blackmail her into never asking them for anything ever again.
I'm sorry. I really have no idea what you're talking about right now. Can you sum this all up for me?
What is Christy doing right now?
She's sleeping at the moment.
Then what I've said to you so far, and anything else I say to you, promise me you'll never tell her about it yet. After she's gone out to drop off your son at the daycare, I'll tell you everything I know so far. I understand that you might not feel as though any of this is that important to you right now, but I'm telling you that what she's been up to affects you and your son as well. I'd like you to take the day off work if you can. That's how important everything that I have to talk to you about is.
Shauna, you came into our place again? I'm sure you already heard from my husband that we no longer want you over here, right? So why are you still doing things without neither of our permissions? Right now, you are seriously causing me some issues that I'm not going to let go of. This might lead to something more than you being kicked out of our house. We might end up just cutting ties with you entirely.
Well, this is perfect timing then, because I've been planning myself to cut ties to you.
Let me just tell you this. I'm not just talking about myself cutting ties to you. Both your son and your grandson will no longer want anything to do with you as well.
The only one that's about to lose everyone is you, Christy. And of course, that means my son as well.
Huh? What the hell are you going on about right now?
We know all about the bad things you've been up to behind our backs. Up until recently, you'd been having all those moms in your apartment building do the cleaning for you while Carson's out of the house, right? Remember all those moms I was telling you about that ignored me as soon as I told them who I was? Well, those are the same moms that you forced to do your chores.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You sure the hell do, Christy. I think you're better off just telling the truth to me now, unless you want to be in a far worse boat than the one you're already sinking in. And you telling my husband about how I've been picking on you. You've only been saying that because while I'm in the house, you can't be up to those no good things you like to do, right? And my son is a very nice man. Too nice, in fact. And so he had no way of doubting what you said about me because his heart wouldn't allow him to. Now, tell me, Christy, did you having to act as an adult finally become too much for your selfish butt?
What the hell are you even talking about right now, Shauna?
On days which your husband couldn't take your son to daycare, I've heard some things from all those other mothers. I'd drop him off, and as I was doing so, I could hear all of those mothers talking about what you've been doing behind me. Those moms there still didn't know who I was yet, so before introducing myself, I asked them what they were talking about, and they let me in on it.
You're going to trust what a bunch of strangers are saying about me? You really are aging much quicker than I thought, Shauna.
Well, I'd rather trust all those women over someone as sly and nasty as you. I know the reason you play sick now is because none of the mothers around town are willing to come over and do all the chores for you. You may have been able to keep all of that hidden from my son, but you aren't getting away that easily from me. I've had a good look at those medications he says you've been taking before eating, and all of those are just daily vitamins, right? And when it comes to cleaning around the house, I've come across all sorts of strange things.
Are you telling me that you've been going through my trash now? That's horrifying.
Those medication sheets? I mean those vitamin sheets. Weren't even in the trash, you idiot. But honestly, that stuff is nothing compared to what else I've learned about you. What I'll never forgive you for is how you've been cheating on my son and what you've been doing with my grandson. Before, you'd leave your son with those other moms while you went out to cheat, right?
Stop it with all of these screwed up ideas you have of me! Shauna! How much farther are you planning to make crap up about me before you find you've had enough? Right now, I'm having a serious mental health crisis and I need to rest without you trying to screw everything up. And those vitamins I've been taking are very important for getting my body back in shape.
Then tell me what hospital you've been going to so often. Something tells me you've been going to the dermatology clinic, though.
And what makes you think I need to tell you about where I go to be treated?
You don't have to tell me if you don't feel like it. I've already found out that you're not going to any hospital or anything like that anyway. I already have the evidence I need of you giving up your son to those other women to take care of him, and about you cheating on my son with another man.
What kind of evidence could you possibly have?
Well, we'll show that all to you when you come and talk to my son and his lawyer about your divorce.
Divorce? Does my husband already know about all of this?
He does. When he came to me crying about how I've supposedly been picking on you, I told him everything I knew about you and your dark secrets. I didn't hold anything back either, because he needed to know about it all. And once he found out about what's been going on, both him and I went out to collect the proof we needed. So stop it with all that lying, will you?
There's no way my husband actually wants to leave me.
Of course that's what you think. He really did pour his heart out for you and everything, didn't he? But after learning about all of this, he's been pushed past his breaking point. He's already told me that he no longer needs you anymore, and so the question has been answered. Have you noticed that the house is a whole lot cleaner than normal? Well, that's due to us having asked a moving company to come and clean all his stuff and your son's stuff out of there.
You're wrong about all of that. I was only asking those other mothers about how to raise my boy. I haven't been doing anything wrong.
I have pictures of you going into some man's house. And all those days that you've said you were going to the hospital. Was that the dermatologist that I'm thinking of? I mean, he seems to want to see all your skin after all. Also, a lot of the other moms have seen you over at his place. And if that's all still not enough, my son has had a good look into your smartphone.
What?
He said if you want to sue him for something like that, you can go right ahead. But you should know your rights when it comes to you both being a married couple. But he has the right to look at your phone, especially when he's worried about what you've been up to. He really didn't want to believe any of this could be happening, but all the evidence we have proves everything to, in fact, be true. He's seen everything now, and his heart has been cut open by your actions.
Shauna, where is he right now? Where is Carson? I'd really like to see him in person and have a word with him.
You'll be able to see both him and his lawyer when talking about your divorce. So you can wait a little while longer and get all that you have to say together. He's actually having a word with his lawyer right now about you. When they've decided on how to proceed, they'll give you a call.
I don't want to wait for that! I want to talk to him before he decides to get a divorce!
Right now, my son has no heart left in him to see you. He's become a cold and hardened man now, looking for a way out of the web you've tried to hold him in. So please, give him and his lawyer some time to think.
I don't want to get a divorce, though! Do you really think it's okay to leave my son with only one parent in his life?
Oh, there's no need to worry about him. He'll have his father to look after him, as well as me.
What? What about me?
Are you kidding me? You left him with people you barely knew to go have sex with another man. And let's be honest, you never really cared about raising him in the first place, right? He's told me plenty of times already that his mama doesn't really like to play with him.
I don't want to lose them, though. And I gave birth to that boy. And when it comes to Carson, I'll never be able to find another man as nice as him. He's the only man that's ever been willing to forgive anything I do.
And you're the only person he's ever gotten furious about, so that must mean you're not worth his kindness. He's never been this mad before in his whole life, Christy. You even sent your secret man a message saying that your husband is an idiot that would forgive you for even the worst of sins, right? So you took his kindness for granted, and look where it's gotten you. I love my son so much, and seeing that you were talking about and taking advantage of him like that broke my heart.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything I've done.
You are not in the position to be apologizing for any of that anymore. It's very, very hard to win someone's trust back, especially when that someone was so kind to you. Now you're going to learn what happens when you stab one of the nicest men on this planet in the heart. Now I'm going to do as you've wished and allow you to cut ties with me. From now on, you are no longer allowed to be a part of my family, and you'll never speak to us again. About a week after all of that, both my son and Christy had their chat about the divorce. And since the divorce was going to be based on Christy cheating on him, and since he had the evidence of her cheating, there was no fighting what came next. But there was one issue, and that was that Christy looked as though she'd get custody of her son. And that broke Carson's heart even more. And so it took over 3 months for Carson and his lawyer to explore new paths to getting him full custody of his son. But they were finally able to do it. When going to the courthouse with the papers, the judge seemed a bit concerned about it all at first, but in the end he gave custody of my grandson to Carson. Also, when it comes to all those moms that Christy ended up using to do all her chores and care for her son, they all went to her and made sure that she apologized to every single one of them on her hands and knees. And once all of that had been settled and the divorce finished, she went back to her parents' house, where they told her she was no longer a part of their family either. This led to her going to her secret man's house to try and live with him. But that man was not happy with her after what he thought was just a bit of fun between two unmarried people. Turned out to be him getting a major settlement from her husband. And he kicked her out of his house before she could even take her shoes off there. After that had happened, my son received a call from an unknown number, which turned out to be Christy. She was asking for him to help her out by handing her some money, which means she's in a pretty rough spot right about now. Of course my son said no to her request. And ever since then, he hasn't answered any calls from unknown phone numbers. We're not really sure how life is going for Christy, besides that she doesn't have much money, but we're hoping she's realized just how much she's screwed up and never bothers any of us ever again. As for my son and my grandson, the two of them ended up moving into my house with my husband and I. We were really worried about our grandson since he didn't seem to totally understand what was all going on yet. But we ended up sending him to a new daycare, and he's been having a ton of fun there since. And along with that, he also has started going over to some of his newly made friends' houses for playdates, and that seems to have really put a massive smile on his face. His mother apparently never did anything with him before and would just leave him to sit in front of the TV all day, by himself. Had my son and I realized all of this was going on sooner, we could have been there to break him out of her prison. But from now on, everyone in my family is going to do our best to make sure that he never goes another day without feeling someone's love. So with the help of my husband and I, my son is going to put his fatherly foot down and make sure his son is raised into a beautiful young man, just like I remember my son turning into. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.